This is the inside of a 2000 Wrangler Sport TJ full door. These are the control arms from the door latch handle, and then the inner door latch handle. You can see this is inner door latch moving. Can't reach the outside to show you. This is the locking mechanism in and out. There is a solenoid-based lock also added. That this goes to a tumbler, which has also the one from the key, which is up here. Those are the 4 pieces that attach to your lock receiver right here. And this thing I just ordered because mine jammed up, which they notoriously do, and on my Rubicon I've had it pop back out, but in this one it wouldn't. So I had to take the door panel off, which someone had done before, and a heed of caution to those who removed the door panel. You can see they snapped it right there. Sorry about the focus here too, my phone's not doing a great job. When this goes back on, you actually set it so that it's offset to the outside edge of the door, leaving extra inside, approximately the width of this. That allows you to set this down into the top channel and then slide it under toward the vehicle, that piece there. That will avoid this cracking in the future, or at least that worked for me. But as we go dissect the insides of the locks to see where the mechanism fails, I'll show you more. Now on to the actual lock mechanism, which is right here. And this is the little lock piece. This purple one goes facing upward, and that goes up to the key in the door. So when you turn the key in the door, it lifts and lowers this lock actuator, which releases and engages. This green one is going back to where that solenoid actuator is in the door. This one is from the button internally on the door. On the inside of the door, there's a little release that also has a lock roller above it. That's what this one attaches to. And the both of them culminate to create this, which has a paddle that shifts onto the back side, which is actually really hard to get to when you're looking in the door, because this is the back inside wall or the outside wall of the door, so you see it from here and it's in a very small pocket. But this is the entire assembly here. I'm going to disassemble it and prop the camera up so you can see these 2 screws release this front plate from this backing. This back mechanism actually looks like it only really connects to that one through this pivoting point and this little rotating mechanism there, which allows it to lock. But we'll see. And you can see that the lock is still, it's pretty hard to see, the lighting's not that great, still jammed in there. It's kind of gummed up because I tried to mess around with it while it was still in the vehicle. The door was actually permanently stuck shut, and because of that I had to actually cut the striker panel off. This is on the inside side of the door, and this is the little round thing that normally attaches to it, and it catches inside that assembly. Now we're gonna take this thing apart and see what's inside, what makes it tick, and maybe what makes it not want to release this front section here, which got a little light I can shine on it, make that a little brighter for you. There's an orange little spring-loaded thing in there too. I'm not really sure what these pieces are. Maybe someone in the comments can suggest as to what that orange piece is. Might be part of the locking mechanism. And this wasn't gummed up before I got to it, so I don't believe that to be part of the problem for it jamming. But as I said, we'll take it apart and see where it goes. Now it's kind of spring popped apart right there. And you can see there's a spring in there, and that's probably part of the reason it wanted to just jump apart. But this is the part that has the actuator for the lock on it. This is the part that actually hits that actuator and passes the message, so to speak, onto this here. This spring, I assume, is pretty dangerous because it wants to jump out pretty bad, so I would just keep that out there. But luckily, in this video, you'll get to remember where that spring goes, because it would be kind of a pain to retuck this into all of its little crevices without that. I am just going to be replacing this, so this is informational only, so I don't really need to rebuild it once I'm done. The screw seems to be stopped, but just spinning there. So we'll see if there's another catch point or something that's in the locking mechanism that's causing this. There's a spring that shot out. So, too bad I wasn't running a slow-mo on that one, huh? This is part of that tumbler mechanism. And this is the spring that just shot out. And as you can see, this is the inside tumbler piece. This is the part that actually actuates that, moves the pieces within there. And this little tumbler, as you can tell, is pretty old and gumped up, so I think that's probably 9/10 of this problem, is that the actual thing, because the lubrication, you can tell this gel stuff, I did soak it in a couple different types of lubricant, trying to get it to release. I used lithium grease, which you can see there, the white and the blackened kind of stuff is actually WD-40 and a little PB blaster. That was my attempt of trying to basically get it to lube its way out of being stuck, which didn't end up being the problem at all. I think it's just something that couldn't be overcome by lubrication. But you can see this is the locking mechanism. It goes up in there, and then it allows that movement. Comes down, back and forth. This is all spring loaded, but I pop that spring out. But this would not be a fun project to have to rebuild, I'm not gonna lie. This would really suck. But if you had to, this video you could use to watch along and make sure you put it all back together correctly. This looks like something you could probably, if you were trying to be frugal about it and replace using the original pieces. This plastic coating on this is really just to avoid the, I think, the striking noise and the wear on this plastic. And you can see that it's not on the inside where the actual door latch hits it. So if you were to just tape this inside part there, and then, or peel all this plastic off, tape that, and then Plasti-Dip the rest of it, or spray Plasti-Dip this, that might be a way to revive it. I'm traditionally someone who likes to do that. However, this was becoming very problematic, and it was to the point where I couldn't overcome it by force, so I actually had to cut the door open. And knowing that, I never wanted to be stuck in that situation with the hard top on and not be able to get out of the vehicle. Without climbing out the window, obviously. I'm not really into the Dukes of Hazzard thing. So this is the tumbler piece that grabs onto that door latch that I cut off. So as the door's coming into this, it hits it and then rolls around it. And that's what causes the latching. And then the tightening is the second step of it stepping down into its latch. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, comments, or would you like any other videos, just leave a comment below. I will be doing a video to show how to install the door locks as well as the handles and some various other ones. I've done a lot of things recently to the Jeeps which I could have done videos on, but they were under the body, oil pans, etc. So the lighting's a little bit more difficult to make a good video of. But a lot of that stuff's fairly simple compared to this. This is very complicated, and it's something that there weren't any good videos of the internal working mechanisms. So it was very hard for me to understand what was happening or what was failing. But now that I've opened it, all of these springing mechanisms are perfectly in working order. This is all in perfect working order. There's nothing that's jamming or catching. All of the original factory grease is still inside it, and this is a 16, almost 17-year-old vehicle. I don't know if I mentioned before, but this is the passenger side, or the right-hand side door latch. So that does make a difference because they're symmetrically opposite, or they're mirrors of each other. Yeah, but I think this is the catalyst. I think I did chew up some of this surface, but some of it has some pieces that are already a little bit frayed. And I think this is the piece that if I were to return this back together, it would continue to catch based on these little bits of debris that catch internally. And then it probably gums up the locking function of that. And that's the lock piece right there. Same idea. This one's very chipped up. And this is another thing that you would just look at what is not covered. So it looks like the whole thing was supposed to be covered at one point. It might be a little opening right there, but I can't really tell. Yeah, it looks like there are two openings on the top and bottom, if you're holding it this way, that have raw metal on them. Otherwise, it's all black. So again, you could just tape those off, plasti dip it, and then peel the tape off to expose the metal to achieve this piece's original form. Again, you could also sand this down and just hope that it won't catch again, which is what I'll probably do just to test to see if that works, and then I'll just play with it, and then I'll do another video to describe what my kind of limp through the finish line fix for this was, although the vehicle itself will be receiving a new part altogether. All right, if you have any other questions, like I said, leave comments below, please subscribe, and I'll post some more videos about Jeeps. So now that I've had time to play with it, I've actually noticed that it is the misshapen function of the tumbler inside the door and how it misplays the action of the locking mechanism. This is the back again, or the inside part of the door. This goes to the handle on the outside of the door. This goes to the, or actually inside, this is the outside of the door and this is the inside door handles. And those actuate this piece right here, which one can do it without moving the other, as you can see. This one here will then actuate this if this were still mounted together. These two pieces, this would pass on to this white surface with that right there. This is your locking actuator here. This is your internal toggle switch on the door. And this is your key lock. It goes upward and behind it. And that's the key lock on the outside of the door. Those have an interesting motion. They change their motion on this pivot point to that little roller there. The inside of that little roller there is just a groove, which a little tongue sticks into. So when you move it, it toggles it up and down. So now, hopefully this won't pop out, but now you can see the two pieces that are actuated. This gold piece goes to this, and that white piece goes to there. Now, if I were to then move this locking piece, you can see that this spring's kind of a pain to show, so I'll pop it out. This little piece here drives this arm, on another pivot of course, up and into this area, which allows for this to carry this white member in motion. So passing through to the other side of motion, we have this white thing here. And what that is, when you come around to this side, you have the door tumbler. So the door latch is coming in, it hits it. Oh, I did it terribly wrong there. The door latch is, switch hands. I'm a right-handed person, so this lefty stuff is tricky. The door is coming in, it tumbles. This is spring-loaded, so the spring popped out. So this would be tight against the top of that. And as it tumbles, latches the first time. That's when your door is shut, but it has that little opening. You can't pull it back open, but it's not shut all the way, and you can shoulder check it to shut it all the way. Then this second notch up here is where it actually actuates the lock. So you'd get all the way back. This would spring load and push its way. Well, I can't because there's a piece of rubber in there and I'm not that strong. Oh, there we go. There. So now it's in the lock position. And again, this would be spring tension right here. So this wouldn't want to pop up no matter what. So the only way to unlatch this is to release this white section on the back here, right there. That pushes up and allows it to move this piece. What happens is where this connects to that white piece right there is not actuating. So this white piece here passes through this gold piece and then can touch this other white piece behind it. This gold piece with both door latches, when you're just tugging them, does nothing because this is unlocked, and when it's, or locked rather, and when this is in the unlocked position downward, this is again spring loaded, so it would want to be down, and then when this came over, it would drive that piece. So I can't really do it without a screwdriver here. But if I push this all the way down, as if this were tight on the back like it's supposed to be, the only way to get this to release is to have this in the downward position, which pushes this up, and then actuate this door mechanism, which would allow the white piece to move, which it stays up again because there's no spring, but you get the idea. This white piece is jamming with this piece back here. So if this piece here, for instance, is spring-loaded and is being caught up on something, say for instance right about there, on that first hiccup right there, on the inside, if you mess this up, it won't catch that lock. So, oops, sorry, my thumb was in the way. So it won't catch this lock. So those are all your moving parts inside of it. I'll take them off one by one. And again, this had the spring inside here. I believe it goes something like this. And then the plate would go on top of it. These two screws go through those two holes, like so. Then this is your door receiver on the spring. And then these are the locking, latching mechanism, and then the tumbler. And this is the door striker. And obviously this outside panel is mildly irrelevant other than just holding springs and everything, keeping it safe, but that is the entire assembly. This one has a little turn that you have to pull out. You can see the tooth on the end of it. So you have to put it in like that and then turn it into place if you're rebuilding this. Then that will get it back into its sliding motion. This is